Hello, welcome back, and indeed welcome to February. How are we already at February? It seems like only 5 minutes ago that we were sort of in November, heading towards winter and those deep dark months, but the nights are drawing out, the mornings are getting lighter, and I was going to say it's getting warmer, but it's a bit cold here today. We had a heavy frost last night and sitting at about 3 degrees. But with February comes the start of the main sowing season. It's the first crazy month of the year and I am really excited. And in this video, I'm going to run through 14 different things that you could or should be sowing right now, plus a couple of other things that we should be doing, getting ready for spring. So let's get straight into it. And the first things that I'm going to be sowing in February are some Kelvedon Wonder peas and some crimson flowered broad beans. Now, not all peas are okay to be sown quite this early, but the Kelvedon Wonder do say you can start sowing them from February. I think you can also sow meteor peas this early, and I'm not sure about early onward. I'd have to look that one up, but the only ones I have that say February on at the moment are the Kelvedon Wonders. These are going to be going in this deep root trainer here. You've seen me use these before, absolutely love them. This was bought in a complete kit from Garland with the lids as well to go on top. Now the broad beans I'm going to be sowing in some more root trainers, but I didn't buy the entire kit for these ones. I just bought the inserts. I've got plenty of seed trays and lids anyway, so it's felt a little bit like a waste of money to buy the entire kit just because I needed the inserts. It's quite quick and straightforward to sow the peas. Just tip a handful in my hand. You can soak them beforehand. I've never bothered, and I'm just sticking a few in each one. Push them down. Go for 3 or 4 in each cell. And I'm just going to lightly cover them with a little bit of sieved compost. This just helps the seeds to germinate. Although pea seeds are pretty strong from my previous experience, and they will pretty much push through anything. Kelvedon Wonder, and it's the 1st of February today. Get that tucked in there. Give them a little bit of a water. And I'm going to put the lid on them here because they are quite susceptible to rodents, so making sure that they are covered is really, really important. Now, I'm only sowing these in root trainers, but lots of people prefer to sow in a piece of guttering from a hanging shelf. You can see here that Kerry from Dog on the Plot prefers to sow hers in this way, and it's really great for when you're planting them out. You can slide them straight out of the guttering straight into your beds. For later sowings, I think I might actually try that myself. So this is my first sowings of these. I will be succession sowing these every 3 weeks for the next few months. Next on the list are my actually red flowered broad beans, not crimson flowered broad beans. I bought these while I was at Gardeners World Live last year. I'm only going to be sowing one of these per cell module, and I will very quickly be moving these out into deeper pots when they do come up. I don't need quite so many of these actually, so I'm not entirely certain that I need to be sowing 24 of them, but you know, in for a penny, in for a pound. With beans, you do need to make sure that you kind of lie them on the sides. Helps to stop them from rotting, which won't be quite so important when they're under cover as when they're outside. Compost is a little bit wet, so it's a bit difficult to go through the sieve. Still writing 24 by mistake on labels. Again, give them a good watering in. And again, to protect these, I will be putting a lid on them as well. Next thing that I'm going to be sowing in February, which is actually the last thing that I'll be sowing outside, are some leeks. And this variety is called Below Zero F1. And it says to sow these in January and February under glass. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm not sowing these in a tray. I'm actually going to put them multi-sown in some pots because I've bought leeks like this before. You buy them in a bit of a clump in a pot, let them grow on a bit, and then you separate them and plant them out. So I'm going to give this a go for this time. Not sure how many seeds are in here. Oh, not too many actually. So I'll sprinkle them around both pots. A few more in that one. Now for these, I will actually try and top them with a bit of sieved compost. Oh, that's working. All potted up, got the label in them, and I'll just leave these on the shelf in the greenhouse. Now let's go inside and run through what else we can be sowing in February. Back in the house now, I very much have a hat hair, so I do apologise for that. But now we're going to talk about the things that we'll be sowing in February that need heat and or light to get going. I do already have my germination station set up. I think this will be flickering on lights for you though. And if I just get the chilies out and show them to you, because obviously those lights are flickering in the background, you can see that these are the ones that are sowed on the 2nd of January. So they've all germinated quite well, as you can see there. Not doing too bad at all, are they? And they're probably getting close to needing potting on. I'm really pleased with those. But chilies and peppers are on my February list as well, so we may as well run through that. Now, I'm not doing many chilies this year because we're not that fond of chilies, to be honest, but I am going to give this one a go, and I'm quite excited to try this one. And this is habanada, so this is all of the flavour with none of the heat, and that sounds right up my street, so I'm going to be giving that one a go. I'm also going to be sowing long slim chili, lemon drop, and it's not really a chili, but I will be doing a white jalapeno. So that's everything that I will class more of the heat for me this year. But I am going to be sowing more sweet peppers because we do eat a lot of those, and I can process them by chopping them and freezing them to use during the rest of the year. So I have this variety here called Paragon. This is new to me. I have Fiesta F1, again, new to me. Red King and Delirio. But the most important pepper that I forgot to sow in January is one that is my own safe seed. So this is Morris, which is a lovely orange bell pepper that I saved from Morrison's. So I nicknamed him Morris, and I've sent these seeds to a few people as well. And really excited to see how they grow again this year. And the final pepper for my list this year is this Hungarian Magyar, which is a paprika pepper, which was sent to me by Robin Gardens. So thank you for that, Robin. And if I can find them, because I remember putting them in a safe place at the end of last year, I do have a spiral chilli that Ali from the Right Pear Plot gave to me at Malvern in September. And I just cannot put my fingers on it at the moment, but I know it'll be around somewhere, and I will be sowing that one as soon as I've found it. So don't delay now, it really is time to get your chilies and peppers sown. Now, hand in hand with sowing chilies and peppers, I tend to find go the aubergines because everything needs the same amount of heat and light. I'm only sowing 2 varieties this year, and that is F1 Pinstripe, and the other one is a new variety to me, and this was sent to me by Emma Rawlings, who is the deputy editor of Kitchen Garden magazine, and she sent me some Turkish orange seeds, so I'm really excited to give those a go this year, so thank you for that, Emma. I do feel like I need another variety there though, so if you've got any suggestions on your favourite aubergine variety, then I'd really like to hear that in the comments, please. As soon as you have that germination and you've started switching on your grow lights, there's 2 things that you could be sowing that actually do need light as well as heat before they can germinate, and that is celeriac and Cape gooseberry. I'll be sowing these in the next couple of weeks, and all you need to do is sprinkle them on top of the compost and place them directly underneath the grow lights to aid germination. If you cover these at all in compost or vermiculite, they will not germinate. That is something that I did last year. I couldn't understand why the celeriac weren't germinating, but I'd covered them in soil and I didn't know that they didn't like that. Now, one of the most exciting things that I'm going to be sowing in February are my loofah seeds, and these are saved from my own loofahs that I grew last year, and I thought that I wouldn't grow them again, but the joy that they brought me all the way through the growing season and into harvesting and making some loofah soap with them, which was such fun to do and give out as Christmas presents, I can't resist growing them again. I sowed them a bit earlier last year, but actually I kept checking them back and holding them back before potting on because they grew so quickly. So I made a conscious decision that I wasn't going to sow them until the 1st of February. I've sent a few of these seeds out to people, so if you have a packet of these seeds, now is the time. I have mine already on heat in this propagator, where I actually have my soil warming up ready for sowing, and they're in this ice cream tub here. And what I'm doing with them is I'm trying to chit them first because it does aid germination. So I have only just put these in this morning. So obviously you're not going to see germination yet, but I have tested viability of these and I got germination in 2 or 3 days. They do germinate if you put them straight in the soil, but I found that they took that a bit longer and this was a much better way of doing it. Once you start seeing some roots coming out, then you can go ahead and place them in some compost. Now you are going to need somewhere fairly tall to keep these once they start growing because they do grow really, really quickly. I kept them in my summer room last year behind the patio door. So if you've got tall doors like that, absolutely perfect. They don't need massive heat. They just need to be kept above 10 degrees once they have started to come through. So that's loofahs. But for now, I shall put them back in there to keep them warm. The next thing I'm going to get sowing are these Aztec dwarf tomatoes. Now I grew these last year. They stayed very small, compact plants, and it was lovely to have them kept in the house on the kitchen windowsill all summer just to have as little snack tomatoes. Now these are last year's seed and I'm hoping that they will be okay. These are a little yellow cherry tomato. It was so exciting to get an early crop of ripe tomatoes that I just want to do it again. Give it a little bit of water. The compost has been on heat for 24 hours. Make a few little holes. I'm going to pop a seed in each hole. Give it another light squirting on top now. So I'll just put the label in these and I will then put these on the heat pad. They prove to be a firm favourite with the family, so providing they all germinate, I'll probably only keep a couple for myself and I will give them away to family. Now next on my agenda are going to get sown in these little pots here, and they are globe artichokes. Now I'm choosing to sow the purple variety. I do have one out on the plot already that I sowed last year, but I think that I'm going to want a couple more. I'm not sure that they'll go in the vegetable garden or elsewhere yet, but I'm quite excited about getting some globe artichokes, and obviously the pollinators love them as well if you do let them go to flower. So I'm just going to put a few of these in a pot. Push them in. Got 6 here, so I'll put 3 in each pot. Cover them over. Give them a bit of water. You could also be sowing some brassicas in February. There's all year round cauliflower, there's the Duncan cabbage, and towards the end of the month there are purple sprouting. But I won't be sowing any more now until March. I already have a polytunnel full of brassicas to get me through the hungry gap, so I'm in no rush to get another crop out just yet. Another thing to sow in February are actually some early cucumbers. You need to be looking for an all-female patio variety, so they only sort of grow about 40 centimetres tall. There's pickle bush and there's also patio snacker. Now I have some pickle bush on order and I might actually sow them towards the middle of February, not just yet. Other things I will be sowing towards the end of February include amaranth, and this variety that I've chosen for this year is called Ponytails. I'm really quite looking forward to that, and I think Kerry from Dog on the Plot is going to be sending me some of the molten lava variety as well. I'll also be sowing a few more foxgloves. I have quite a few dotted around the garden from last year, so get an early sowing of these in and they might actually still flower this year. And then I'm also going to be starting off some of my asters as well. And I do have some antirrhinums as well somewhere, so I'll get those sown too. Now, if you haven't already started doing it, one of the other things that we need to get done in February is to start chitting our potatoes. You could have been doing this from January, but I didn't get around to getting mine quite that early, so I'm only just doing it now. I have 4 varieties of seed potatoes this year. 2 of them I have grown before. They are my second earlies of Charlottes and my main crop of Sarpomera. The Charlottes were absolutely enormous. If you remember, I grew those under the grass mulch, and I was absolutely blown away with how big new potatoes grew. And I was also really impressed with the Sarpomera that I grew in buckets and harvested over winter. So they're definitely on the list again for this year. And in fact, I should have saved my own potatoes, but I forgot and we ate too many of them and I didn't have any decent seed potatoes left. So I've had to buy some more. So that's a lesson learned for next year. But new to me this year as first earlies are these, and they are Red Duke of York. Now, I've seen so many people rave about them. I know Mayu from Spuds and Roses, Kerry again, Dog on the Plot. They all like the Red Duke of York, and I think Jessie does as well at Plot 37. So I'm really keen and eager to try those. And I've also chosen Cara as a second main crop. So I've got a white skinned potato and a red skinned potato. These were mentioned on Danny at the Grow Up Channel's live recently. Jenny from Moorside Gardener really rated these Cara potatoes, so I thought I would give them a go this year as well. Now you have to place potatoes in the light to chit them. I used to think that they had to be in the dark, but that's when you get those long, white, spindly chits, and they are not very healthy. You need to chit them in daylight, but somewhere fairly cool, and you'll find that you get some nice little green leaves forming, and then when you bury them in soil or compost when it's time to plant them out, you'll just get some really healthy, good potatoes that will just crack on and get going. I'm going to take these and put them chit side up in some egg boxes. These are absolutely perfect to store them in. Keeps them facing the daylight when you put them in your window. See that one? It's already a little bit too dark for that one, and it's just starting to shoot away a little bit. It's a good job I've got them out now. I will just write on the box, Red Duke of York. So that's the first ones. Do the same for these Charlottes. Look at the size of that for a seed potato. They are very big. Good thing about the egg box is you can just lie some down on the other side as well, especially those that have got chits in some stranger places. Stick a label in with them. I'm not going to be planting these out now till April. They're just going to sit on my hallway windowsill and chit away. Something else to be starting in February are sweet potatoes. Now, I've bought this organic sweet potato from the local farm shop, and I'm going to try and grow my own slips. I've never tried this before. I've no idea what variety of sweet potato this is either, but I'm going to give it a go. I've had a little look on the internet and it suggests 2 different ways to start off your sweet potatoes to produce your own slips. One of those is to just lie it in some really moist compost, putting it on a heat pad, sort of line it that way and just hoping that you produce slips. Now the other method is to simply put them in water and hope that they root that way. Pointy end is the top and the stubby end is the bottom. So I've cut the bottom off this 2-litre pop bottle, put some water in it, and I am just going to simply place the sweet potato in here and see what happens. You'll have to check back in a few weeks to see if we've been successful. Good luck with your February sowings. I'll catch you in the next video.